shattered dreams, the night innocence died. The whiskey glass slipped from Andy's hand. It crashed against the wall, shattering into a million pieces, just like his world. He had found her, his wife in the arms of another man. Their laughter echoed cruelly in his ears, a stark contrast to the icy rage that now coursed through his veins. The infidelity itself was a blow, but the betrayal cut deeper. His life, carefully constructed, now lay in ruins. That night, fueled by despair and whiskey, Andy made a fateful decision. He drove to his wife's lover's house, a loaded gun on the passenger seat. The rain fell in sheets, mirroring the tears he couldn't bring himself to shed. He stood outside their window watching them, the gun heavy in his hand, but something stopped him. He couldn't do it. As he drove away, the rain intensified, washing away the evidence but not the pain. Little did Andy know, fate had a crueler twist in store. He was about to become a victim of circumstance, his life forever altered by a crime he didn't commit. The events of that night would forever haunt him, leading him down a path he could never have imagined. Condemned, a life stolen, a spirit unbroken. The courtroom was a cold, sterile place devoid of any warmth or humanity. Andy sat in the defendant's chair, his face pale, his eyes reflecting the gravity of the situation. The evidence was circumstantial, but the prosecution wove a compelling narrative. A jealous husband, a dead wife and her lover, a smoking gun. The jury's verdict echoed through the courtroom, each word a nail hammered into the coffin of Andy's freedom. Guilty. He was sentenced to 2 life sentences at Shawshank Penitentiary, a place notorious for its brutality and despair. Hope, it seemed, had abandoned him. The clang of the prison gates closing behind him was a final, crushing blow. He was stripped of his identity, his name replaced with a number. Shawshank had swallowed him whole. Yet, even in this pit of despair, a flicker of defiance remained in Andy's eyes. He might be a prisoner, but he refused to let Shawshank imprison his soul. Walls of despair, navigating Shawshank's shadow. Shawshank was a living hell, a place where hope went to die. The air was thick with despair, the silence punctuated by the clanging of cell doors and the barked orders of the guards. The other inmates, hardened by years of confinement, saw Andy as an outsider, a naive fool who wouldn't last a week. The first few weeks were the hardest, the constant threat of violence, the dehumanizing routines, the crushing loneliness. It was almost too much to bear. The guards, led by the sadistic Captain Byron Hadley, ruled with an iron fist, using brutality to maintain control. Life in Shawshank was a constant struggle for survival, but Andy was a survivor. He clung to his sanity, to the belief that there was more to life than the cold, gray walls that surrounded him. He observed, he listened, he learned the unwritten rules of this concrete jungle. He knew that to survive in Shawshank, he needed to become invisible, to blend in with the shadows. Section 4. A Glimmer of Hope. Expertise as currency. One day, fate intervened in the form of a prison work detail. Andy overheard a group of guards complaining about their taxes. He saw an opportunity, a chance to use his former life, his expertise as a banker, to gain a small measure of control over his own destiny. He approached the guard, Captain Hadley, his voice calm and measured. Hadley, initially skeptical, listened as Andy outlined a plan to help him legally shelter his windfall. Impressed by Andy's knowledge, Hadley agreed. Word spread quickly through the prison. Soon, Andy was providing financial advice not just to the guards but to inmates as well. This small act of defiance, of using his skills to navigate the corrupt system, gave Andy a glimmer of hope. He wasn't just a number in Shawshank. He was Andy Dufresne, a man with a mind, with skills, with the power to make a difference, even within the confines of prison walls. Section 5. Kindred Spirits. The unlikely bond of Andy and Red. Red was a man who knew how to get things in Shawshank. Cigarettes, liquor, even a magazine or two. He had learned to survive by becoming indispensable, a vital cog in the prison's black market. He watched Andy with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. This quiet, unassuming man didn't seem to belong in this brutal place. Their friendship began slowly, tentatively. A shared glance during mealtime, a whispered conversation in the yard. Andy's quiet determination, his refusal to be broken by Shawshank, intrigued Red. They found solace in each other's company, a shared humanity that transcended the prison walls. Red, hardened by years of confinement, began to see a glimmer of hope in Andy's eyes, a hope he thought he'd lost long ago. Andy, in turn, found a friend, a confidant, a lifeline in the brutal sea of Shawshank. Their bond, forged in the fires of adversity, would become a testament to the enduring power of friendship. Section 6: Redemption through words, the library and the opera. The prison library was a dusty, forgotten room, its shelves stacked with outdated books and yellowed magazines. Andy saw it as something more, a sanctuary for the mind, a place where the inmates could escape the drudgery of prison life. He made it his mission to expand the library, writing letters to anyone who would listen. His persistence paid off. Donations poured in, transforming the library into a beacon of knowledge and hope. But it was the arrival of a record player and a collection of opera records that truly ignited the inmates' spirits. One afternoon, Andy played Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro over the prison loudspeaker. The music, soaring and beautiful, filled the yard, washing over the inmates like a cleansing rain. For a brief moment, they were transported, their troubles forgotten. It was a moment of pure joy, a reminder that even in the darkest of places, beauty can exist.